I don't have a super flashy intro. I don't really have a lot of words. I didn't write out a script. I don't know what I'm going to say when I get to the end of this video. I don't have a whole big list of things that I want to get off my chest. I don't know. This is probably the most difficult thing I've ever had to sit down and make a video about. I really started diving into YouTube early in before the 2022 season. And so since I started, the hardest thing we've had to talk about is a 3-game losing streak. Those are the only 3 losses we've had. Otherwise, we're 21-3 in the last 24 games. And the 24 games that I've really been diving into YouTube and making content pretty regularly. And then maybe Jamie Robinson leaving, maybe missing on a recruit. I've had some pre-records that we didn't put out. But yeah, this one sucks. And this one's really hard. And I don't want sympathy. I'm not asking for, feel bad for TJ or anything like that. But I don't know what to say in a situation like this. I probably feel a lot like you guys do. And so I think when you're frustrated or upset or mad or scared or whatever the situation is, or happy, whatever your emotion is, I feel like, when you talk about a sport or a team or players or whatever, and that's mostly what you do, right, for your job, then you have to talk about the good and the bad. And, Richie and I did a podcast the day after Jacksonville State. It sucked, and that was probably the hardest up until that thing that we had to do. But, man, the program was so bad at that point that it was just like one hit after another, just keep knocking us down. That was the lowest point, but keep knocking us down, whatever. This is brutal. Jordan Travis is the kind of player who he is incredibly physically talented and gifted. And so I don't want this to come across as any kind of negative because, I've been in a bad mood since, he went down. But, he is incredibly talented. But to me, it's so much different than somebody like Jameis Winston, who's my favorite player, any sport, anything, all time, maybe besides Kobe. Jameis was always heralded as, going to be the GOAT, going to be the greatest, going to be that guy, right? Same thing with Kobe, same thing with Michael, same thing with LeBron, same thing with a lot of our heroes or sports stars or whatever. Jordan wasn't. Under-recruited, 3-star, undervalued, wanted to quit, wanted to change, they wanted him to change positions, everything else, right? And so what he did to become one of the best quarterbacks in the country is so much different than what Jameis did. Now, I know Jameis had to work as well, right? And so I'm not trying to take anything away from my favorite player ever for the Seminoles. But when you see somebody who's had to work so hard and who has been so low, you almost appreciate it more or in a different way to a different level than you do with somebody who, man, Jameis threw a touchdown pass, his first pass in a spring game. It's just different. And so I think Jordan, not only for myself, but probably for many of you that are watching, just almost holds like a different respect you have for him. Knowing where he came from, knowing what he had to suffer through, knowing what he had to fight through, we know about the mental side of it, and wanting to nearly quit football, but not doing that. I think we have a different respect for Jordan than we have for just about any other quarterback. And most people are not going to put him ahead of any of the 3 Heisman winners. I think he'd be in a lot of people's top 4 or 5 quarterbacks of all time at Florida State. I don't know that he would necessarily I think he probably would have had to win the Heisman and win a national championship to jump 3 guys that did those 2 things, right? I think it's pretty standard, but I think he's number 4 on a lot of people's lists. And I don't think he's the 4th best passer that we've ever had at quarterback. He doesn't have the 4th best completion percentage that we've ever had at quarterback. He doesn't have the 4th best QBR that we've ever had at quarterback. But the ways that he reminded me of Jameis were how he fought and how his teammates fought for him. His fire and his passion. Chris had that fire and passion. Charlie had that fire and passion. I get it. But the way that Jordan could rally his teammates and the way that Jordan was never out of a game, the way that he really, over the last year and a half, 2 years, dominated rivals. People forget that, in that Florida game, he gets knocked out. If he doesn't get knocked out of that Florida game for a couple of drives, we probably win that one too in 2021. And, first QB ever to start and go 3-0 against the Canes. That's absurd. Through all the history, through Jameis, through Charlie, through all of that, first quarterback ever to do that. And so, to get to week 11 and to get to a game that, you were losing early, and I think we all were frustrated by the fact of how it was losing, but you're reminded so quickly of how little football means, right? And how little we were all complaining, and we were all frustrated, and we were all cursing, and we were all saying, just put Washington ahead of us. Who cares? Well, you saw what this team can do, even with a backup and a bunch of guys out tonight, when they kind of put their pedal to the metal and get going. And so in a game that you knew you were going to win by 1 million, you knew you were going to hang half 100 on this team, even though they got out to a 2-touchdown lead. We were frustrated in that moment. And to go from being frustrated, I was never worried. I was never worried about the game at all. But to go from being frustrated to very quickly, oh my gosh, the season is possibly over now. I know that's not how the players think. I know that's not how Mike Norvell thinks. I know that's not how but you take the starting quarterback off of any team in the top 10, and that's probably their first thought. That's just how things work. I know people are sharing the Cardell Jones memes and stuff like that. And hey, we'll talk about Tate in future videos. I really want to make this about Jordan as much as we can. But for that to happen, and trust me, I want to win 4 more games this year. I want to be 15-0. I don't care if it's Alex Mastromano, shout out the Aussie, at QB. I want to win 4 more. I get it. I'm the same way. I am still going to Gainesville next week. We're doing a tailgate. Come hang out. We're going to have a blast. We're still going to Charlotte. We're going to have a blast. I don't care, again, who the QB is. I don't care who the kicker is. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going. Seminoles are playing. I'm going. If the selection committee doesn't screw us over, count me in for New Orleans, Pasadena maybe, and then hopefully see you guys in Houston. But I want to win 4 more. But the task of beating the elites, the Georgias, the Michigans, the Ohio States, the Oregons, the Washingtons, gets taller without Jordan. Jordan's the kind of guy where if you have a disadvantage on the roster or you have a disadvantage at a certain position, Jordan erases that. Your offensive line isn't as good as their defensive line, doesn't matter. Look what he did at Florida last year. He is the kind of guy that, and the kind of quarterback that erases. I think I've heard J.D. Pickell on the On3 network say that. He erases disadvantages. And so that's tough. But JT is really one of everyone's favorites. And you really saw the outpouring of love from everywhere. Tim Tebow tweeting about it. Everyone in the media tweeting about it. That was a tough moment. That moment sucked. And, it was cool seeing him support Brock, who scored a touchdown. It was cool seeing the support of his teammates. This whole thing sucks, so I don't want to say anything's cool about it, but, it was cool seeing Mike Norvell get choked up in the press conference. Just to see how much he means to him. Obviously, I think we knew that already, but I'm not, certainly not happy it happened. But if you're trying to look for silver linings, I think, you want coaches that care about their players, and you want coaches that care about their players more than just as players. And I think that's hard as a coach. I don't know You'd have to ask Mike Norvell this, and I don't know if he'd give you an honest answer anyway, because it'd be a pretty tough answer to give unless you just said yes. I bet that's pretty hard to do with 85 guys, 85 plus, walk-ons. But I know it's not hard to do with Travis. Jordan is a special kid that I've gotten to interact with a couple of times, and he's always been phenomenal in those interactions. I love his brother. We have had him on the podcast a couple of times, and he's phenomenal too. Devin does a great job being Jordan's number one cheerleader, and man, my heart hurts for their family. My heart hurts for JT. My heart hurts for the team. My heart hurts for Mike and the coaches. My heart hurts for the fans. Again, this isn't on me. I don't need sympathy. I don't care. We got up to we're on vacation, so we're in North Georgia, kind of close to where the Morlocks are from. And we got up here maybe 2 hours before the game. So I watched the end of the Georgia-Tennessee game. I watched the end of this 3:30 game. I watched a couple of games, and then our game came on, and the kids are running around breaking stuff in the cabin, and who knows what, right? Different background, you can tell. But day one of vacation, and I was in the worst mood possible tonight. My wife and kids are running around, and I'm like, can you guys just leave me alone? I'm depressed over here. But I mean, it's tough. It's frustrating. And I know you guys feel the same way. And I don't have, like I said, I don't have some big ending. I don't have some, this is, bring us home, TJ. I don't know. I just wanted to vent. I just wanted to rant. Man, it sucks. And it would suck for anybody in this situation. If Washington was to lose Penix, or Oregon was to lose Nix right now, or Bama was to lose whatever, McCarthy up at Michigan, it would suck for anyone. But of course, it sucks more when it's your team, and it sucks more when it's a kid that you've seen work as hard as JT has worked, and it's a game that's supposed to be about honoring him and honoring the 2013 national champions that were coming back, and honoring the seniors, and honoring those who have put so much work and effort in. And man, this is supposed to be like a party night. And the Noles ended up winning and cruising to victory and winning by a ton of points, and had some fun along the way doing it, all the way up until the last play of the game. And it was still a good night overall. It's frustrating to see the way that some of the things went down. And I don't even mean on the field play. We'll try and talk about that a little bit tonight on our podcast that we'll do with Richie and I. But man, hard thinking about the cloud that was over it. Sellout stadium, sellout crowd, everyone there to just watch us party, send off the seniors the right way. And I think what most people are left with is that image of the cart coming out and getting the one player you didn't want to see go out. You don't want to see anyone hurt. You don't want to see anybody get injured like that. You don't want to see anybody getting carted off ever for any team. I get that. I saw Mertz went out at UF. That sucks too. But if there was one player every week, if we took a poll, hey guys, FSU fans, one player you don't want to see hurt today, who would it be? 100% of you are saying Jordan Travis every single week. It's not even a ballot. It's just a write-in. You're writing JT 13 every time. And it's gut-wrenching, and it's hard, and it sucks. But where do you go from here, right? That's not what we're here for in this video. That's not what we're going to do. I don't want to get yelled at by the folks in the Moore Center, but the address to the Moore Center is pretty available online. You can Google the FSU Moore Center. I'm probably going to be writing a handwritten letter to JT. You can write courtesy of Jordan Travis, or you can write in care of. You can write to Jordan Travis and put the Moore Center address. And I'd be pretty cool if we flooded the Moore Center with thousands of handwritten letters saying how much we appreciate Jordan Travis. Don't tell them it was my idea, because I don't need the more center yelling at me for them having to go through 3,000 letters this week. But Jordan will have the time to check them out, so maybe they'll put him to work. Tough one, man. But, you know, you move on, right? You try and do the best you can. I know Jordan's going to cheer his butt off the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'll be in Gainesville. I'll be in Charlotte. If you were planning on going, you still better be there. If you were planning on watching, throwing parties, doing this, doing that, whatever your plans were, we ain't stopping. I know Jordan's going to be there too, ready to go, ready to support. Let's roll, all right? Hey, I said we wouldn't make this video about him, but we are riding with Tate. Hey, I was a little bit of a doubter at that Louisville game. I was overserved a bit, but I was a doubter at that Louisville game, and he shut me up. And I tweeted that I was a doubter, and I kept those tweets up to prove that I was wrong. I'm riding with Tate, 100%. Kid looked good tonight. I'm praying for JT, and I'm riding with Tate Rodemaker. Let's go beat Florida. Prayers up for JT. Maybe leave some thoughts, goodwill, comments, whatever you want. All prayers up for JT through this video. Sorry for the rant. Sorry for rambling. Just kind of share what was on my heart tonight. Talk to you guys soon. Go Noles.